Hi. Yeah, I'm like super, super excited to be here because I love talking to people and teaching them about their own potential and teaching them what I've learned. And actually, I just celebrated 50 years. It's not 35, it's 50. So I have 5 decades of experience of hands-on natural healing, and again, learning everything I could possibly learn for the benefit of the patients, the benefit of myself and my family. So I'm going to tell you just a little bit about how I got into this field to start with. I was born and raised on a farm in Iowa. I was the middle one of 7 children. My parents were farmers. And when I was very young, my older sister had developed diabetes. And for me, it was really scary watching what was happening in our home when she would have one of those situations where, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so I just made up my mind when I was really young that when I grew up, I was going to find the cure for diabetes. I mean, that was, in my head, it was I was going to be looking in microscopes and doing research, and that would be it. Well, I also thought about being a pediatrician because I loved children and I wanted to help the children also. So when I was a senior in high school, we had a journal that came to our house that was about diabetes, and there was a story in there of a young diabetic boy in Michigan who got under chiropractic care, and his body started to work so much that he was able to get off of his insulin shots. So that just really tweaked my desire to know more. And in our local newspaper, there was an article. The Iowa Chiropractic Society was giving a scholarship to the Chiropractic College to a high school senior who would write an essay on chiropractic. So I went to the city and talked to a woman chiropractor who actually had worked on myself once and my father, and asked her if I could borrow the books to write an essay on chiropractic. So I can still see the vision of sitting at home at the dining room table, reading this book on chiropractic and writing this essay. And as I read, the big picture was the difference between chiropractic and medicine was that chiropractic asks the question, why? What is the cause of this problem with this person? It was all about cause and effect. And I'm reading this and I'm writing this essay and I'm going like, well, this makes total sense to me. What's so weird about chiropractic? Why do people think they're different? I mean, because back then in 1970s, chiropractors were kind of looked at as being not so, whatever. And yeah, I know, no kidding, because so then I wrote the essay, and again, I'm just like, oh, this just makes sense. So I write the essay, I send it in, and a few weeks later they call and they want to interview me, and well, I ended up winning the scholarship and going to Palmer College. And the funny thing about that story is, I went to a small high school. I think we had like 75 in our class, and I was sitting in psychology class. I can still remember the teacher's name, and he was going around and asking each student, what do you want to be? What college are you going to go to? What do you want to do? And when I got to chiropractic, he made fun of me in front of the whole room. Said something like, you want to be a quack? Seriously. I got up and I walked out of the room, walked down to the principal's office, walked in and sat in the chair across from the principal, and I said, this is what he said. And he goes, well, Bonnie, I want you to know, I'm sorry that he said that, but we took my son who had bad allergy and asthma to a chiropractor, and it really helps. So don't feel bad, just hang in there and, do what you feel is right. Okay, so now I move forward. I'm in chiropractic college, and I loved it. I love learning about the human body and love learning about evaluating the body's spine for misalignments. And I'm going to go on to my first slide here, I think, if I can. Okay. So I'm working chiropractically with patients, checking them. The term we use in chiropractic when you're out of alignment in your neck or back is called subluxation. And it just means that the vertebrae's out of place just a little bit, and it's kind of pinching or irritating the nerve. Wherever that nerve is going to in your body is what will create dysfunction and disease. So every person that ever came to me, and again, back there, people didn't really know what chiropractic was, and they would come up to me all the time and they'd say, well, what can you do for my neck pain? What can you do for my headaches? What can you do for my arthritis? I'd get all these questions in the public, and I always gave them the same answer. My job is to evaluate if you're out of alignment, and if I give you adjustments and correct the misalignments, your body will start to work better, right? So, okay, that made sense, and moving on. I'm working naturally, doing this over and over. Well, a little part of this that I think is very interesting is that I didn't realize that mothers would start bringing in their little kids, like little babies and little children, and say, my baby won't stop crying, my baby won't sleep, my 3-year-old won't poop, and they have all these stories that they would come in, and the reality of it was that chiropractors were getting basically people that had already done the medical path, and it didn't work, so now they were going to try chiropractic. And so I started, very gently working on these little kids, and it worked, and it helped, and it was great. And long story short, years later, I wrote a book about working on children. So the first slide, now I'm going to jump forward here to today. So now you know my background. My first slide, because we're talking about, I want to tell you everything I can possibly tell you, what I believe, what I've experienced, what I'm sure of, that can help people be healthier, more vital, just have better health, and stay younger as long as possible. Okay? So, number 1, attitude. I saw people come in, I was real young then, I saw people come in that were in their 20s that would make comments, I'm getting old because my back hurts. And I'm like, we need to talk about your attitude. And, it was, people they're coming from different backgrounds, and they have all this different material in their subconscious mind. And that's what this slide is about. And I would start teaching people this. Your conscious mind is the part of your mind where you get to pick your thoughts. Sometimes I would tell people you need to think happier thoughts. And they go, oh, I can't help it. It's just the way I am. Well, I'm sorry, you can help it. And that's what I'm here for, is to tell you that, yeah, you can change your thoughts. You have free will to pick your thoughts. You have consciousness. You consciously pick the thoughts. And every thought you think goes into your subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is like a computer. It has programmed in it everything that's ever happened to you, everything anybody's ever said, anything that's happened around you has gone into your subconscious mind. And so you're programmed in a certain way. You have certain belief systems because of what you've been told for, birth to 18 before you go out on your own. And these subconscious, the belief systems that you have may be inhibiting you from your full potential. So if someone comes to me that has been told they have asthma and allergies and they're never going to get better, well, I usually stand my ground and say, excuse me, but if we find that the cause of your condition is from misalignment in your spine, or possibly nutritional deficiencies, or eating foods that your body just can't tolerate, and so it's sick, it's not functioning at its potential because of, or possibly thoughts in your mind. And it could be anger, it could be any of the negative thoughts, fear, anger, resentment. I mean, any of those negative thoughts affect the body. And there was a medical doctor, Bernie Siegel. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of him. He wrote a book called, it doesn't matter, I can't remember. He's written several books. He spoke at one of my seminars. He was a Chicago surgeon in a hospital, and he was in charge of the cancer patients. He found it was interesting that when spontaneous remission happened, he wanted to understand why. So he started a group asking people that had had spontaneous remission, trying to figure out why they were able to heal their body and others weren't. And bottom line in his book, he wrote that every thought you think affects every cell in your body. That's big. You know, every thought you think affects every cell in your body. So that's kind of what this particular picture is showing, that where your attention goes, your energy flows and it manifests in physical form. You know, that's a real big piece of life from onset. You know, I've talked to my friends. I said, can you imagine when we were like little kids, like in first and second grade, if we had been told that the thoughts you're thinking are affecting your life, how much different we would have been as we grew up? I mean, I just think that's so huge that now we have this information, and yeah, we need to take advantage of knowing this. Most older Americans have at least one chronic health condition, and many have multiple health issues. I'm just going to let you go ahead and read that. I'm sure you can easily figure out that most people most American people, number one, they don't know about the power of the mind. They don't know what chiropractic is. They don't know about nutrition, and I'm going to get into that. What can really enhance your energy and your health. So these 5 books, I'm just going to talk to you about each one of them, so you don't have to go out and try to buy them and read them. I look at all my books, and I put together a few books that are my pivotal moment, top powerful wisdom books to tell people what to read. And the first one, Nutrition and Physical Degeneration, it's a story about a dentist, Weston A. Price, who was looking at trying to figure out, why has everybody got dental problems? You know, what's the deal with the dental issues? So he closed his office and took his wife, and they went all around the world. They went to all these faraway countries trying to look at the teeth of people in all these remote areas. And what he found was that if people were if they lived way out in the down in the Congo, if they ate the foods that were in their environment, they had perfect arches and perfect teeth with no cavities. But when they were near an area that became industrialized, where they could start getting foods that were refined, foods that were processed, they started having dental problems. So, yeah, that's really huge. It's to try to tell people, please, if you're eating refined, processed foods, that's probably why you're having a lot of health, hip pain or back pain or neck pain or digestive problems. I mean, I could go on and on about that, but that's that book. So, very powerful. Gut and Psychology Syndrome is all about, again, food, and it's about the foods that we eat, whether our digestive tract is healthy or not, affects our mental capacity. Now, that to me is just, again, off the chart huge, because there was a study that showed that when the mom that was having the baby didn't eat healthy enough, the babies tended to grow up and be schizophrenic. So there's a wide range of mental aberrations if you want to talk about what people are eating and how their ability is to think. I mean, it's just, I would suggest to anybody that's looking at this material and say, you know what, do it for 60 days, It's not, just try for 60 days to stay away from processed foods and go to organic, natural fruits and vegetables and water, and just eat healthy and see how you are able to think happier thoughts and have a body that feels better. So that's that book. The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton, PhD. This is a great book. Bruce Lipton was teaching at a medical college. He was teaching cell biology. And after many, many years, I don't know if it was like 25 or 30 years, one day he was at home and he said this light bulb went on in his head, and he realized that the individual cell in our body has the same components to the environment, the reaction to the environment that as a whole we do, meaning that the cell would either move forward in growth or it would move backwards in protection. And the great part that he taught, that they found in their studies, was that the great number of people who think they have issues because it's hereditary are not hereditary. They're environmental factors. So I think that's really big, because I hear that a lot from people, well, my aunt had it, my uncle had it, my mother had it. And well, he disproves that. So we would like to leave that behind and say, okay, let's pretend that you don't know your hereditary factors, and let's look at your environment. Is what's happening is it the stress in your environment? And is it what you're eating? Is it that you're out of alignment neurologically? All these pieces I have to put together when I'm working with patients to get the best possible results. I have to give them all the information that I'm presenting to you. Okay, book 4, Sugar Blues. The book is incredible. Giving up sugar, I tell people sugar breeds infection and feeds cancer, and I'm not the only one who says that. Sugar is just toxic to the body. And again, the book is just so full of information. It's just mind-blowing. And I will say to people again, you know what? Just try it for 60 days. Take away all the sugar and just see if you don't have a better ability to think happier thoughts. Because the thing about sugar is that, it makes you feel really good for a while, and then you crash. That's just how it is. And so that's a great book to read. Now, Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza, that's a more recent book. Dr. Joe Dispenza was a doctor doing a triathlon, got hit by a car, had a broken back. He had 3 orthopedic surgeons tell him that he had to have rods put in his back, and he chose to not do it, and he went home and meditated and visualized the bones healing and completely healed his own body. Very powerful book. He does come to Denver and teach classes. He teaches all over the world. I highly recommend go to Joe Dispenza YouTube testimonials There's over 300 testimonials online. They're short, 5-10 minutes, of people telling their story of their own condition, their disease, their challenge, and what happened when they started doing what he recommended as far as doing that deep inner meditation, and that's what his book is all about. So, and then people will say, okay, in the handouts, you have a chart of effects where I show each level of the vertebrae, each level of the spine, and what area it feeds so that you can know. That was always my favorite chart, and it still is. You can know, as an example, if your upper back's out of alignment. You may not necessarily have back pain, but if it's out of alignment and the nerves going to your lungs or heart are being interfered with, you could have chronic cough or heart issues. Now, let me tell you a little story about chiropractic. Was discovered in 1895, actually September 18th, 1895 in Davenport, Iowa. And Dr. Palmer had been researching the human body and had come to a conclusion that the vertebrae could actually go out of alignment and cause some problems. And he had a janitor who had been deaf for a few years since he had incurred a back injury. And he convinced the janitor to lay down on the table because he felt that he had upper back vertebrae out of alignment. And he made a thrust into his vertebrae, and his hearing came back right away. That's how chiropractic was created and how it was discovered. And the funny story about that is, so he went around the town of Davenport, Iowa, handing out flyers that he could cure deafness, right? And so people were coming to him for deafness. Well, as he was adjusting them, their heart problems started healing. So, because that's the same area where he was working. So then he went around town passing out flyers that he could cure heart problems and deafness. But, this is back in 1895, so I think that's a pretty fun part of chiropractic history. And then people ask me, well, what causes subluxation? And the 3 T's: trauma, thoughts, and toxins. And I think this is just real easy to understand. Trauma would be if you get rear-ended, if you fall on the ice, if you hit your head, all kinds of trauma like that. I mean, wearing the wrong shoes, sitting in bad chairs, that type of thing. Thoughts, again, are going back to the negative thoughts that every thought you think affects every cell in your body. And basically stress. We're living in a time where there's a lot of stress in the world, and I tell people, leave the TV off. Don't watch the TV. Don't watch the news. Just stay in your center and focus on good things, and just don't let that environment influence what's happening with you. And toxins are toxic air, toxic water, toxic fumes, toxic food. You can think of many different ways that, I was reading about a golfer who said he was limiting how much he was going to be on the golf course because they've been spraying the greens with all these toxic chemicals, and he was worried about it. So there's a lot to consider with those areas. And we can talk more about that later. Okay. Patients are often put on 5 or 4 medications at once. It's no surprise they develop serious side effects. Okay, so this brings me to the topic of, again, how my life is different, my career is different than what the typical person, is going through when, here's my thing. If you have a healthy mother and a healthy father, and you have a healthy baby, and the baby's growing up and it's healthy and you're feeding it and life is good, when something happens that the baby might get sick, people if they have the information on natural ways to help it, like I did in my family, we didn't go to the medical person. We just never needed to. And so my thing is that if you start putting medications into somebody that their problem isn't because they lack, like for instance, headaches. If you look up some of the medications in the physician desk reference, which lists the side effects that people are taking, because I've done it more than once, some of the side effects of some of these medications are headaches. And back in the 70s when I started my practice, it was illegal for attorneys, drug companies, and chiropractors, medical doctors to advertise on TV. And now when you look at these ads on TV and the potential side effects, you know what? I can remember an elderly lady in my beginning years of practice that came in to me that was headed for a hip replacement because she had hip pain. She was on 5 medications, and I did the research. I showed her the possible side effects, and she decided that she was going to try not to do the medications, which she did, and her body healed with natural methods, and she was able to cancel her hip replacement. So, that's not an unusual case. I mean, I could tell you a lot of them, but what I'm saying is, I'm talking about natural methods of healing, of ways to approach what's happening to the human body so that we're getting what is actually causing the problem. If the cause of your problem is the refined, processed foods that cause inflammation in the body, if that's the cause, you don't want to cover up that symptom with a medication, because there's no such thing as a medication without a potential side effect. There just isn't. Okay. Nutrition. Any substance we eat to maintain life and growth. I'm all about organic foods. I'm all about considering what it is that you're putting into your mouth. I mean, we could spend an hour on that. There was a time in my practice that I learned about the Standard Process Whole Food Supplement Company, and I will recommend this to anybody to go online and look up this company. They have over 300 different types of supplements to support the function of any part of the body. So if somebody has chronic cough, there's a nutritional supplement I can give them that will help heal their lungs. There is a supplement for anything the person is being challenged with. I can't speak highly enough about, the thing about the nutrition is, you have to eat. We live in a stressful world, and let's say as an example, you're a runner or you're an athlete who really works out a lot. You're going to need more nutrition than you can get from food. So you have to get on certain supplements because you're utilizing so much more nutrition than what you're getting, than what you can get from food. And I will make that promise to my patients. I'll say, okay, you know what? Your little child is having cramping at night. Here, take these minerals, and and I guarantee that it will help. Or bring it back if you don't like it, and I'll give you your money back. That's how certain I am of this company. There's a clinical reference guide that has listed in it every complaint and which supplements for that complaint. It can be adrenal, it can be thyroid, it can be female issues, it can be pain, back pain, it can be vision problems. We're talking everything. You want to ask me a question? Can we wait till I'm done? Okay.
So I'm going to go get my pen to write it down so I remember.
Okay.
Which my brain would remember.
Okay.
But I'm afraid I won't.
All right. Yeah, I could spend an hour talking about standard processed products. I've been taking them for years. All my kids, all my grandkids take them. It's just, I know for certain, without a doubt, that these products will enhance good health in a natural way. And if I can talk people out of eating junky food that's not nutritional and getting on whole food supplements, I can promise that they're going to get results. And I'm serious about that. Malnutrition is a big problem in the elderly. It's, they get to a certain point, they're not going to be cooking very much, and they're going to be taking what's the easiest to eat, and unfortunately, that is a big problem. Eating peanut butter sandwiches or hot dogs. I mean, it's not going to cut it. It's not going to help people stay healthy. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Now, exercise, I've seen it happen many times. People will come with a low back and I'll, give them some chiropractic care and put them on, go out and swim, and they'll cancel their next appointment because they feel fine, So I see that, they go out and they work out and exercise and they strengthen the muscle and they feel better. So again, exercise, there are books written that professional people say, if you had one thing you have to do to stay young, it's exercise. And I would agree with that. Even if it's 45 minutes a day, getting some strengthening, moving, get off the chair and get out and move. And there are things you can do at home. There's yoga, there's little weights, there's movement, there's dancing around the house with your favorite music. I mean, there's lots of ways. We just got to get people to move. Yeah. And it's going to help them, be happier. Because the body and the mind are one. What's happening in the body is affecting the mind, and what's happening in the mind is affecting the body. So to me, that's really important. Mental health, again, there was years ago, there was a hospital in Davenport, Iowa, near the chiropractic college, where they were giving mental patients chiropractic care, and they were getting better, and they were able to get out of the hospital. Now, this is a long time ago, but it's true that if your upper neck vertebrae are out of alignment, it's true that it's can affect your ability to think. And it's very true that if you're not eating properly or getting the nutrition that you need, that will inhibit your ability to think good thoughts. So just consider the fact that maybe when someone is feeling depressed, maybe if we gave them more B vitamins and put them on an exercise routine, they would see that they start to think better thoughts. Again, that's a topic that is, it's dear to my heart because I've had some really good friends that are therapists, counselors, psychologist type friends, you know what I mean? And we talk about the patients that maybe they're teenagers that get put on a lot of medication because they're not behaving or they're having, issues. And I'll say to my friend, well, I've got a couple different kinds of supplements that could really help. She goes, oh no, I can't legally recommend vitamins. And I had one mom say, she was a foster mom. She goes, oh no, if I can't give him vitamins because I would get in trouble with the authorities because he's on these medications. And, it's food for thought. It was very sad. Like, really? Really? Like, there's enough research out there, enough science that shows that if you feed people healthier nutrition, that their brain can work better. So, back to your thoughts and your ability to be happier. I think getting outside in nature is kind of a spiritual experience. I mean, that it's that way that, we live on a planet that's beautiful and we have the sunshine and we know the sunshine is good for us and it's fun to get outside and be part of the planet and think about, my mother used to say to me, if you're so worried about something that's happening to you, you need to get out and help somebody else. I always thought that was really good advice, because we get caught up in something that's happening to us, and it's like, okay, stop your whining. Now it's time to go out and to do something good for somebody else, because it's not about what happens to you, it's about your reaction to what's happening. So again, back to you get to choose your thoughts, right? So I hope that you can see the difference of where I've come from in my natural method of healing. And in your packet of information, I put in a questionnaire that's actually a symptom survey, a nutritional type of symptom survey. So I think it's kind of fun. If you're interested, you can fill it out and give it to me or send it to me, and I can help guide anybody. The thing is, like, if people are taking medications that have side effects, it's not really getting to the cause. And if as an example, I think I get to that. I think I'll go to that one. I don't have it on here? Okay, I thought there was a book on here that I had called Caffeine Blues, and the idea that coffee is not good for you, okay? I know. And I'm telling you, read the book. Coffee destroys the B vitamins in your gut, which the B vitamins are for brain function. Coffee, there's just a lot of reasons. And the book is great. It's called Caffeine Blues. You won't even believe it when you read it. I mean, you just won't believe it. That it's very addictive. It's not, people just gonna go like this to me when I say, I had a lady who got really upset with me because I said, first thing you got to do is stop all that coffee. And she goes, I could never do that. And I went, well, if you want me to help you, if you want to get good results, you've got to take care of your gut. And the coffee is really messing up with your normal digestion. And, it's going to give you stomach aches. It's going to give you all kinds of digestive disturbances. So there's that. I thought I had a slide in here about that. So anyway, back to my philosophy of healing people from a natural method. I'm looking at to see, one, are they subluxated? And two, if they are, why? What is their diet like? What is their routine like? What is their stress like? I think that I try to cover all bases of what I've learned through all the years of doing what I do. And I believe that the natural way is going to help people stay younger and healthier. Is just, you know, to not have to ever take a prescription, and to not have to be in pain, and to sleep well and get up and be able to move well, and you know, be able to think well and be able to take care of yourself as you get older. You know, that's kind of what I think. Man, I want to be so healthy that nobody ever has to take care of me. I want to, you know, I want to be able to be on my own and take care of myself. You know, each one of these topics I touched on a little quickly. It's, I'm sure, unless you know, you probably haven't heard this, but it's what I've been doing for 50 years, you know, just teaching people, you know, your body is a self-healing mechanism. When you cut your finger, you know it's going to heal. You know, when you have a baby, if you feed it right and take care of it, it's going to grow up healthy. This is a healing, self-healing mechanism. So when something isn't quite working right, you gotta start looking at what's causing it. You know, I mean, when a lady came to me, this was a couple years ago, and it's a funny thing, I don't know, it just came out of my mouth, but she had knee pain, and she went into the doctor, and they wanted to give her this prescription, and she's sitting there, you know, chair to chair to me, and I'm taking her case history, and we're talking about everything, and it just came out of my mouth, well, your problem isn't caused from a lack of a prescription. You know, it just, and I went, geez, Bonnie, I can't believe you said that. You know, but it's true, you know. We want to address what's causing it. And I'm telling you, many times it's what people are eating. And that's, you know, it's just unfortunate, you know, because if you have healthy parents and healthy children, we want each generation to be healthier, right? But if we have kids growing up on junk food and processed food, and they're not healthy and they're not thinking happy thoughts, and if they grow up and have children and feed those kids junk food, you know, what's going to happen? I mean, we want people to be as healthy and strong the way they're designed to be. The human body is designed to be healthy all the way from birth to 100. Why not, right? It can happen. I mean, to me, it's like, okay, let's talk about common sense. If we went to a country, or even in our country, if we interviewed, you know, 20 people who have lived to be 100, and they're not on any kind of prescription, and they're doing great, and what did they do? Let's find out, what did they do? Or if we go to a different country, and there's a lot of centurions there that have lived to be over 100. I mean, is that not common sense, just to want to know what is somebody else doing? Because that's how I look at it. I want to know what other people are doing, and that's what I've done. You know, just looked at when they're out of alignment and they need adjustments, chiropractic adjustments, and when they're not being fed properly, and when they're not getting the nutrition they need. Because I know what I've seen all these years. I remember the mom who brought her 3-year-old boy to me because he was constipated. You know, they had him at the medical doctor's office. They put something down him to check him. They put something up him to check him, and they couldn't find out what was going on. And I asked, well, what's he eating? You know, so I adjusted him. I talked about diet, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he got better. He got results. You know, it's just, that's how it works. It's what I see over and over. I had a mom bring in, I think he was about 9-10 months old, a little boy that wasn't pooping. And I laid him across my lap and took my fingers and very gently checked his back and worked on him. And later, she tells me the story. She says, because I wrote about it in my book, she said, I watched you do that. And I went, there's no way that's going to help him. And she said, and I left and he pooped in the car. And I went, yeah, that's just how it works. So from little, I really promote chiropractic and natural methods for kids. And I really try to, to me, it's got to start when you're young. Whatever your age, wherever you are, whatever age you are, wherever you are in life, you can make little changes to improve your health. I talk about all this. So what? Take baby steps. Reduce your coffee, reduce your processed foods, get out and move, do some deep breathing, do some stretching, get a hold of some standard process supplements to feed at the cellular level, and, get some chiropractic adjustments. There's not, no matter where a person is, they have the ability to move forward, because the human body's always trying to heal. It's always making new cells, and your body's always trying to get to a top potential of good health. And that's my purpose, is to get people to be as healthy as they can possibly be naturally. I believe that when the body's talking to you because you have a pain somewhere, you need to get what's really causing that pain. Because if you just take painkillers and the cause is coming from, let's just say, your digestive issues, if you're still if you're still not getting to the cause, then the body's going to have another symptom. It's almost like when you put drugs into it, it kind of suppresses this, it changes the symptom, but is it really getting to the cause? And that's really what I'm about. I want to look at everything and get to the cause of the problem so that you have maximum health potential. Your female organs, your male organs, they're designed to function normally. If you're having issues, let's find out why. Is it toxins from deodorants and makeup and hair chemicals? We have to look at everything. We have to work to try to get people to wake up to their own potential and their own life force in their body. Because, again, like I said, whenever something happens, your body's trying to heal it. Your body's always working 24/7 to create new cells, and anything we can do to enhance those new cells to be healthier is what we want to do, regardless of the age, regardless of where you are in your life at this time. Okay, I think I'm ready to take questions, so go ahead.
So, the standard process supplements,
Uh-huh.
are they primarily vitamins and minerals, or do they also incorporate kind of herbal?
They have an herbal line.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
And what, are you pleased with that as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, totally. Yes, ma'am?
Well, I have two things. Your one quote, I missed the end. Where your attention goes, your energy flows and manifests
Mm-hmm.
in what?
Physical form.
Physical form. Thank you.
Yeah,
And then, is it coffee or is it the caffeine?
caffeine.
That doesn't help me any.
That wasn't the answer you wanted.
Well, it's the caffeine that I want. I can do without the coffee, but I need the caffeine.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, can I not drink coffee and drink like a caffeine supplement?
It's the caffeine.
Okay, all right.
Dr. Bonnie, are there products out there that would provide the energy and the lift that are more natural than, say, the caffeine?
Yes, absolutely.
Things out there that
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like what?
Well, Drenamine is a natural product. that supports the adrenals. And I give it to people all the time, and they come back and say, yeah, I have a lot more energy, you know. I sleep better because I have better energy during the day. And if you've been under a lot of stress, your adrenals get zapped and depleted, and then you're tired and you don't sleep well, and it affects your endocrine system, your hormonal system. So, yeah, there's natural products for whatever ails you. I'm so happy to say that. I'm just so happy that I have that to offer people, so that I know that I'm doing everything I can in a natural way to help them. Yeah. Anybody else? Yes. Yeah.
So I attended last year UC Health up in Denver, the Anschutz campus. They had their big, healthy aging symposium with all the, medical side of things up there. And I was really surprised. They launched that conference with the statement, the best thing you can do is take hormones. All the research, all of it, just you need to take hormones. Women, start at 50. Men, by the time they hit 70, they better be on hormone supplements. It's the best thing for aging. And they said that for women, they have tracked that if you start hormone replacement therapy too late, post-menopause, that is when the breast cancer link starts to show up. And they just, it was a woman, doctor, and she just was pushing that so much. And so I wonder, what are your thoughts about all the hormone replacement therapies, and what are you seeing from a natural healing perspective of, how do you support your folks when, you're going through definitely a body change where your body is saying, I'm done, I'm not doing this anymore. And so what are some of the things that you kind of promote to help, continue to age well and not suffer so much?
Yeah. Same thing. Better nervous system, nutritional products for the hormonal, for the endocrine system. Yeah, I've looked up hormone replacement therapy, and they do link that to cancer. So I can't encourage that. I would encourage all that I've talked about today, because, and I've thought about this, I mean, there isn't one particular body part that doesn't have the potential to stay healthy. So there's got to be a cause. So we would need to look at what's causing and give the person the right treatment as far as nutritional, chiropractic, exercise, stress. I mean, there isn't a limit to what your body can heal. Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that. And
I don't agree with it at all either.
Yeah.
I was absolutely, and that's just me, I don't know what other people are working in the room here, but
Yeah.
It was really hard for me to hear them say that, for both men and women. And it was fascinating on the male side to talk about how when men hit 70, they better be thinking about hormone replacement, things when they hit 70. But for women, you need to do it 50 or younger. And so I was really surprised, and I'm just, it is hard. It's hard to have, certain organs in your body stop working, and I do think that's an aging thing, and I don't know that we could eat all the right foods and do all the right things and still keep certain, glands and things operating and working. Maybe I'm wrong. But, so it is, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But, it's going to quit working, and, it's going to affect your body. But to try to find those other mechanisms that can help, mirror, some hormonal activity that you're losing is just kind of interesting.
Well, I think that I would challenge that idea that because you're getting older, one body part's not as well functioning as the rest of your body. You know, I don't know that I can agree to that because, but I will say that the Standard Process Company does have lots of products that support the female endocrine system and, you know, the male too, that are natural, that I bet there's other companies that do the same thing, but I'm just not about putting chemicals in the body because that doesn't seem natural to me, that would be the answer. Yeah. And I'd be happy to show you my clinical reference guide. But I say, you know, go to the Standard Process website and look at what they have to enhance whatever body part you're questioning, you know what I'm saying? Yes.
One question in the chat. Pushed a wheelbarrow up a hill today and my back hurts. I have a chiropractic appointment on Saturday. Any suggestions in the meantime?
Say it again.
That's the question in the chat. They pushed a wheelbarrow up a hill and their back hurts. They have a chiropractor appointment on Saturday. Any suggestions in the meantime?
Lay down and put a cold pack for 10 minutes. Not ice, just cold. Yeah. And lay down. And eat healthy. And drink a lot of water. And think happy thoughts. And imagine the cells healing.
Looks like that's the only virtual question we have.
I kind of forgot about that over there. Yes.
Can I share a story?
Yes.
So I managed a non-medical division of a home care agency, and so we had this client that had MS, and she was bedbound. And all she could do was turn her head like this to push her button to call her help to come in. She was a nurse in her past life, and she was like, this is ridiculous. I don't want to live this way. I'm doing this IVIG, I'm doing all these medications, chemicals, and like I'm still laying here in this bed doing this. So she did research and she took herself off all the medications. She went to a caveman diet and I watched her walk. Like it, I mean, and it, like it didn't take years, it took months. But between supplements and just changing to an all natural diet, she didn't cure her MS, but she certainly fixed it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, she couldn't walk well, but she went out and shot her own elk like a year later.
Yeah.
And ate it for, you know, 2 winters long or whatever she did. But like it's a thing. Like
It is
we are what
true.
we eat. Like it's the old adage, we've been saying it
Yeah.
for years, but nobody listens to that.
Yeah, that's a really hard thing because people are so used to buying processed foods and
Easy.
it's easier, yeah, it's easier and it's just making everybody sick, you know, it's just, I gotta talk people out of it, you know. Any other questions? Yes.
What is your best way to talk people out of that?
You know, I think just challenging them to try it for 60 to 90 days. Because, I mean, I've done that with people. I say, you know, I know you don't like the idea, but you can do it for a couple months. You can stop the caffeine for a couple months, you know. And you can get out and walk, and you can move, and you can think happier thoughts. And, yeah, you have unlimited potential. And isn't the payoff going to be worth it? I mean, isn't it going to be worth it when you wake up in the morning and you don't have any pain in your body and you can get out of bed and look forward to a great day and know some good things are going to happen today? You know, and I love my life. You know, I love my life. I feel bliss. I'm thrilled to go help people. And people should have that kind of energy. And all they got to do is try it for a couple months.
What do they have to lose? Ask them, what do you have
That's
to
right.
lose?
That's right. You have everything
You
to
can go
gain.
back to it if you want to. You can go back.
Yeah. Yes.
Another virtual question. What about allergies/food sensitivity?
It's usually gut related. It's usually their gut biome is way off balance. I actually had, this was here in town. I'm going to tell you the story, then I'll answer the next question. I was in a networking group here in town, and this mom brought her little boy. He was like 5. Her husband was in my networking group. I gave a talk. The mom brought the little boy in who had severe peanut allergies. This is, I swear to God, it's a true story. I started adjusting him, and I put him on some natural products to build up his gut biome, build up his immune system. And he got better, and he went to the pediatrician, and the pediatrician said, I don't know what you're doing, but whatever you're doing, keep doing it, and you're more than welcome to let him try peanuts. And they said, no, we're not going to try that. But they actually, he got great results. Yeah, I know. That's how I say, wow, I mean, I see that. It's just, I see it all the time. I'm wowed all the time by just turning on people's life force energy in their body, getting the nervous system to work better, and getting them to maybe consider the fact that they have more power than they realize. That's really the biggie, that, if somebody's gone to the doctor and they've been given a diagnosis and they say, well, you're going to have to live with it, if that's in the subconscious mind, wow, then I got to talk to them about that, because you really and truly are a powerful being, a powerful, healing, self-healing being. You're not just this physical form. Your energy, when you're thinking about somebody and those thoughts are going out, and then somebody calls you and it's them. We're connected energetically in the quantum field. And that's what that Joe Dispenza book, Becoming Supernatural, that's what he talks about, that we are all connected to this quantum field. We are unlimited in our potential for healing and for creating the life of our dreams. Okay, now you have a question.
Well, it was just a follow-up to that. So
Oh.
if there is a gut issue or food sensitivity, do you suggest kind of starting with a probiotic or prebiotic or elimination diet? Like, it seems like when I kind of discover something, sometimes you have the tendency to just go all in and try everything at once.
Yeah.
But it probably works, to just start slow
Yeah.
and kind of see how your body feels that. So what do you suggest for people when they kind of start that journey?
The first thing I would do is make sure they're taken off all wheat. And that is a book, I thought I had it on here, but I can see that I don't. A book called Wheat Valley. And if you read that book, you will have a different opinion about breads and grains, because this Dr. Davis has been doing studies with patients. He actually writes in the book that he believes that the wheat is what causes diabetes. So yeah, I would take them off wheat and grains, off of sugar, and I would do a product called Lactens, which I have from Standard Process, that helps rebuild the normal gut. And it's kind of one of those things that you do all the right things and they get better. Then as they go through this and they go to their friend's house and they introduce something that they know is not going to make them feel, they'll know not to eat those Cheetos because it's going to mess them up. And they know that if they eat the wrong food and they don't feel well, then they have a hard time thinking happy thoughts. Children know that too. They're very smart. Yes.
Great question in the chat. How do we get in touch with you?
Oh, drbonniemay.com is my website, and my phone number's on there. Yes.
If it's not standard process Lactens, can you recommend if someone goes into a natural food store and they want to get something that would be similar to that, do you have is it a probiotic? Would they get a probiotic then? Is Lactens a probiotic or what she was asking about?
Yeah, it
that would do
is. It is.
So that so there's somewhere to start. I mean, they can
Yeah.
go to the store.
And you could start with apple cider vinegar. That kind of helps if they just drink a little bit with water. But yeah, you can go to the health food store and ask. They'll guide you. Their products aren't as good as mine, but they'll get you.
Well, will standard process allow you as a customer to order your own, or do you have to go through a press?
You can go online and order their products.
For real?
Mm-hmm.
For real?
Yeah. And you can
'Cause
Google,
I haven't had that experience, but that's good to
yeah,
know.
that
Okay.
you can, like, you can go Lockdown, you can go standardprocess.com, you can even Google Lockdowns,
Okay.
and it will come up and how you can order it. Yeah, you don't have to get it from me.
So I suppose you don't have to get it even through standard process?
No.
You can get it through Amazon, I suppose?
Yes, you could.
Okay.
However,
Yes.
I don't know if you want to comment about, you know, different companies and quality. I mean, you know, like, sorry Pamela, when you say that on Amazon, I mean, that's like the
Well, I'm
first
just
thing that
saying-
crosses my mind. is
Yeah,
Like, I don't know that I
understand.
would want to just, you know, I'd want to be doing a lot of research. And so I don't know what comments you might have about going to different types of companies and.
Well, I guess it would make the most sense to have a professional kind of look at the categories of what's happening and somebody who's got experience to kind of guide.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would tell people to go online and buy, I mean, yeah, Lactans I know, but other products I don't know. So, and I'm certain of what kind of results people will get when I give them. I know what works and what's good, yeah.
But Lactans is Lactans is Lactans, whether you buy it from Amazon or you buy it from standard process,
They don't make it,
right?
another company won't make it. You won't find Lactans by another company.
Oh.
No. It's,
But Lactans, you can't, okay.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Cool.
Just they hide stuff everywhere. I worry, you know, if you don't really see the ingredient list, I would really, and even then, I don't know if I would trust it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
It's hard when you first get started on that and you want to have a natural healing path. It's hard to know what products and where to start, and obviously you look at the ingredients, but it's hard to figure that out. So having as you said, a professional, or even someone at Natural Grocers, they have a dietitian or a
Right.
natural whatever, even that, you know, that person can help in that path, trying to figure out what, you know, what you need to do or what you want to do or what to try.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But you gotta take that first step.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to tell you my story.